Hi everyone, this is Carolyn Toss Podcast and YouTube channel. I'm your host, Carolyn Hines, film critic and journalist, and this is one of my interviews for the 2024 New York Asian Film Festival. And today I'm very happy to be joined by the creative team and cast of Operation Undead, a Thai horror series unlike anything that I've seen, even in the zombie genre. So that's an accomplishment in itself. And the film is having its world premiere here at the festival. And today I am joined by director Kong, producer Lakkana, and actors Nonkul, Awat, Ping, and Akarat. And so thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us. Hello.
Thank you. This film it's a zombie film, yes, but it is not your typical zombie horror in that it's very much about war and it's about the effects of war on people. So my first question is going to be for the director, for Calm. What inspired you to make this film about this particular war? Because I was doing research and it's called The Forgotten War of Thailand because it was a very short and brief skirmish that took place, looking at my research, December the 8th, 1941 in the southern province of Thai.
ทำไมถึงเลือกที่เคยเห็นที่มาแล้วแต่เลือกที่จะเป็นสงครามครั้งนี้เขาบอกว่าเขาไปทำรีเสิร์ชมามันเรียกว่า Forgotten War
ก็เนื่องจากมันเป็นคอนเทนต์วอร์เนี่ยแหละเราเลยมันมีพื้นที่ที่เราจะใส่เรื่องราวซอมบี้ลงไปในนั้นได้เหมือนประวัติศาสตร์ที่ไม่ได้ถูกจารึกไว้แล้วก็เหตุผลที่มันเป็นสงครามอันนี้เพราะว่าในรีเสิร์ชจริงๆเนี่ยยุคสงครามโลกครั้งที่สองเนี่ยถ้าเคยได้ยินญี่ปุ่นมันจะมีเรียกว่ายูนิต731คือการทดลองเอาวุธชีวภาพทางนาซีตัวเองก็เลยทดลองทางญี่ปุ่นเนี่ยก็ทดลองเหตุการณ์นี้มันคือญี่ปุ่นยกพลพื้นที่ไทยเพราะฉะนั้นมันก็มีมูลเหตุที่ทำให้เป็นจุดเริ่มต้นของซอมบี้ที่เกิดในสงครามที่ไม่ถูกบันทึกมีไว้
So the reason why I select this one because it's called Forgotten War. That means, nobody really talking about it. There is a room for me to add this story of zombie in there. And also about World War II. During that time, with the Japanese side, also have the unit called Unit 731, this is based on true story that they're doing
Experiments. They were doing experiments on the Chinese, yeah.
Right. They're doing some experimental and that can be, kind of fit in the story that I want it to be.
And for this film, the first thing that appeared in my head was War Makes Monsters of Men. And the film is really about how war turns innocent young boys, because they're all teenagers in the film, innocent young boys, and it strips their dreams away and turns them into something they never thought to be. Can you just talk about developing that aspect of the story? Yes, there are zombies, but it's more about the emotional and the mental toll that war takes on them because it changes their entire personalities and their outlook on life and family.
เขาบอกว่าคือเรื่องเนี้ย message นึงพูดถึงสงครามเนี่ยจริงๆแล้วน่ากลัวที่สุดที่มันทำลายเด็กเหล่านี้ไปหมดเลยอย่างเงี้ยที่เด็กอายุเป็นกว่าเลยคิดได้ไงทำไมถึงแบบมีไอเดียนี้ที่พูดเรื่องสงคราม
จริงๆมันต้องหมายถึงว่าเราอยากทำให้หนังเรื่องนี้มันเป็น coming of age มันเป็นเรื่องของการที่เด็กวัยรุ่นกลุ่มหนึ่งที่เขาควรจะได้ใช้ชีวิตของเขาอย่างเป็นสมบูรณ์แบบในแบบที่เด็กวัยรุ่นคนหนึ่งควรจะเป็นการที่เนี่ยมันเป็นโจทย์ที่สำคัญว่าเฮ้ยการยุวชนทหารเนี่ยมันคือการเป็นเหตุการณ์ที่เขาเอาเด็กต้องเอาเด็กกลุ่มเนี้ยที่ไม่ได้มีความพร้อมหรือความสามารถในการออกไปรบเนี่ยไปเผชิญหน้ากับสงครามเพราะฉะนั้นซอมบี้มันจึงเป็นตัวแทนว่ามันทำให้กัดกินชีวิตพวกเขาจนมันเกิดเรื่องเกิดราวในเรื่องเนี่ยครับเพื่อจะไปคำตอบว่าเฮ้ยในช่วงชีวิตของวัยรุ่นเนี่ยคุณจะต้องเจอกับอุปสรรคหลายๆอย่างที่เหมือนคุณต้องเจอกับสงครามและความไม่พร้อมเหล่านี้แหละคุณจะเติบโตไปเป็นคนเดิมหรือคนใหม่แบบไหนมันเป็นคำถามที่รู้สึกว่าโจทย์เนี่ยมันสำคัญมันน่าสนใจที่ว่า
quite deep. So the teenager, right? In during that time, I feel like the teenager, they are just young children and they should have their own life. They shouldn't be in military. They shouldn't go to the war, but we use them and put them in the war and it's kind of killing their life. It's just like zombie, that the same thing that zombie took their lives. So it's kind of parallel of zombie and the war, that like these young soldier or junior soldiers, that they have their life, they have their dream, and they should have lived instead of going to the war.
Yeah, so my next question is gonna be for Awat and Nonkul. So they're the two main protagonists of this film. So Mek tells Mok that he needs to be a soldier for family, for their nation. He fully buys into the idea of being a soldier is being this heroic thing. And he tells Mok that he can keep running, but eventually he's gonna have to stop because his back is eventually gonna get pushed against the wall. And I thought that was really interesting because yes, in life we have to we can't always keep avoiding confrontation. But when it comes to war, like I'm fully against children in war. I'm fully against war. And he kind of attributed like regular life circumstances to war. He wasn't weighing the toll of war. So I want you both to talk about how these two brothers, one was talking about family and cherishing family, and the other one was talking about war and valuing war and being a soldier. Can you talk about the discussions you had about how these two brothers had two very different outlooks on life and war and family? So, Nonkul, you can go first.
Okay. For me, I think that even Meg is think about his family all the time too, even though he talk about war, talk about, being patriotic about his family. And in the movie, he actually said that what country means to him, the word country actually means his family, not the country itself. So being to protect his country equal to protect his family. So basically, this whole idea of being patriotic is actually his love for his family.
Personally, I think Meg and Mark, we are totally different. For Mark, I think he is more independent. And I think both of us are family oriented, so we love our family, but I think we have the different way to show our love and affection to each other. And of course, I think Mark is not a nationalistic person. So that's why they both have a different way of thinking, but they have to still live together. They still love each other, but it's just like many family in the world that we are together, we have to be together, but we have different way of thinking. But I think because it's because of our personality as well, that the way we show affection is very different. And I think that's why it's created like some conflict between Meg and Mark, because we cannot say what we think straightforwardly. So we have our own way to show affection. And maybe it's too late to show that affection, because we're being ourselves.
Yeah. And that's the thing about war. War brings out the worst in people, and it rips families apart. And that's one of the biggest tragedies of war. And the scene that really struck me in this film is because right after they have that discussion, that's when the first battle on the beach begins. And the thought again that also crossed into my head is we're like from years, just watching so many films about war and documentaries, like they glorify war and say like you get to fight, you want to fight for your country. But then I love that director kind of said like the battle ends just like that. Like what is fighting in war, in the context of war? Like they don't even get a chance to actually fight. They're killed almost immediately. And those who aren't killed almost immediately are left with the scars of it. So I think the film really does talk about what is the point of fighting if if you don't even get a chance to fight, like if the odds are stacked against you. And so Ping, as one of the actors who plays one of the soldiers, can you talk to me a bit about working with everyone about with regards to the zombies, because you guys are not the typical zombies. You're fast, you're aggressive, but you also have the emotional toll that is taking on these characters. Like they're all like they want to go home, but they know they can't really go home. So talk about playing these aggressive characters, but still keeping the emotionality of the characters, because you guys are sad. Like it's very sad watching them. It's like I want them to go home.
So I think it's really hard for me because when I watch the zombie movies, it's gonna be like they didn't have mindset. They're gonna like their brain is got destroyed already. But in this movie, we are all have emotional. We are all have like thinking, and we are all. I think we are half human and half zombies. So I think it's really hard for me to every physical, every what's that called? Every every movement is gonna be from like feel when like the zombie feel, and it's gonna be like that movement. So it's not just like we not just like movement like zombies, but we feel and movement like zombies. And everything is all from the mindset from the characters. Yeah, that's a really hard thing for me. Yeah.
No, I understand what you mean, because the zombies of yesterday, of like films from like 15, 20 years ago, are not the zombies that we get portrayed now. The zombies that we get portrayed now are fast, aggressive, they don't really think, and they're just like, it's all bloodless. Like everyone would think about like Train to Busan. Like honestly, one of my favorite pictures are shows like The Walking Dead, where these things move super slow, but they're still like super aggressive at the same time. But the characters in this film, the way you portray the zombies is I don't even really see the zombification as really as a horror element. I look at it as more of a dramatic element. Is that this is just an external representation of how they feel on the inside. So I love that these characters they get to retain their identity. They don't lose who they are as people. It's just this is what war has done to them. And I do want to now I want to talk now about the physical element of that, because I imagine it was a very exhausting shoot, because you're wet, because you're going to mud. You have like you guys are covered in mud, and you still have to stay in character the entire time while remembering, oh, I'm emotional, but I'm still a monster. So I want all three of you to talk a bit about how just like the physical element of that, so that people get an idea of like what toll it took on you personally as performers.
Actually, like for the preparation, we did like many things. We had a lot of workshop before, and most of the things that we did. So basically, we did a lot of physical transformation. So we already like find the balance of the movement of being a zombie. For myself, I actually like did a lot of dance practice alone in my home to just get just like contemporary dance, to move my body, like to be more flexible. And then once I have to be a zombie, sometimes I can feel like my body is ready, so I had to do this like almost every day. So I had like my sessions every day to move my body, to be able to connect with all of the part of my body. So I think it's very demanding, and it's very needed to do that, because in the shooting we had to use the whole body, and it's not just only about like physical but emotional that as well, that we had to carry on the whole shooting. So I think it's a very tough process, but very challenging, but very fun as well.
And for the other two, like what was it like for you? Because as you were talking, it made me think, like, I think you guys are the only zombies I've seen in years in a film that actually do have internal dialogues and thought, and communicate with each other verbally. The others don't, they're just single-minded, but you guys communicate. So So talk to me about that because that just occurred to me. Yeah.
Well, for me, compared to the other 12 young soldier, I'm the guy that become zombies, become the final one. So the air time for me to become the zombie is the shortest. So I think in a way I don't use as much as energy as these guys, but still the preparation for my zombie state is very fun for me, and I find it very not exhausting at all. I have a blast every time I go on a scene. I love action scene.
But you're strong. You have muscle.
I mean,
I can't do like that.
well, or I'm always working out, so it's not really exhausting for me, but it's sure as hell sticky,
Yeah.
very sticky. But even though I'm tired sometimes, but when I see these guys, these 12 young soldiers that I'm act with, in a role with, they give off me such a huge amount of energy that I'm never exhausted.
ใช่ของแบบที่ตัวละครเหล่านี้มีความคิดความรู้สึกแบบฟิสิกอล
อืม
ที่ออกมาเรามีวิธีที่เวิร์กกันยังไง
Well, I treat every role, well, it's just my perspective. I treat my every role in acting as an athlete. So when I prepare for my role, I will practice a lot of time back in my own space until I get very natural with it and before I go to shoot. So I don't go into an awkward position when I 3, 2, 1 action. And when you keep doing it again and again and again and again, you will get used to the emotional connection of the character, not yourself. Easier and easier and deeper and deeper.
Okay. Lakkana, as the producer of this project, what was it like for you? Because as the producer, your job is, yes, to support the director, but also support the cast. But I want to ask you, like, what was it for you, like, working on this project and learning this particular history of Thailand, and not only just Thailand, but World War II? Because I've watched many films about World War II. I've watched many documentaries about World War II, and this film made me go and research this particular battle, and it was the very first time that I had ever heard about it. So what was it like for you as a producer, as you were like working with Com and like getting into the minutia of making the film? Like, what was it like for you to discover this aspect of Thai history and also world history? Because like it is tied into world history.
Actually, like Pong said, it's there's not a lot of information about this part of war and this part of Thailand that has Japanese coming in. So we have a little information. But actually at the beginning when we had this idea, we just want to play with the situation. We think it's a good like tool for us to use the time and the situation that had happened before to create something that unexpected for the audience. And I think like giving real situation a little bit to the audience, it kind of give like for them to relate to something that they know a little bit about and imagine forward for our zombie movie. Yeah, and for working with Pikom, it's been very challenging because he like we know from the beginning that he could portray this type of movie, and like we have been saying that a lot of character has been building in this story. And actually the beginning we had many drafts of script before, and when it comes to delivering the script to people, we wanted to have his own style in it. And because for zombie movie, we know that it's kind of like a big, and we've seen like a big scale before. This one we wanted to have like a character driven, and this is how people portray, yeah, in his own style.
Yeah, I think it is a very character driven film where again, like, because in the so many films and dramas and shows have been made about zombies, but then in like the last 10-15 years, again, most of them aren't even about the zombies are just side characters, they're just like they're just there. But in your film, your zombies are the characters, they're the main character, they're the protagonist, they're the driving force for this film. And I actually looked up the word fumetsu because I was like, I know this word and I couldn't remember what it meant, and I looked it up. And it is basically the Japanese word for how in their culture they believe the soul is immortal and undying. And it kind of made me, well, the thing that turns them into zombies is this fumetsu, the biological warfare. It kind of made me think of how like basically it sounds morbid, but war seems like never ending. Like, I'm 40 years old and I've never had a year of my life where war has not been happening anywhere on this planet. Even as we're speaking now, there's like the genocide in Palestine, and there's what's happening in Haiti and other countries, and it's just like, yeah, like war is unending, but then the human spirit is also unending, like hope. So I want to ask director Kham about making, I think, the underlying theme of this film about just the resilience of human nature, but also human connection, because it's the connections between the 12 young soldiers and the two brothers that really makes this film work. Because I think without that human element to the story, it wouldn't work the way it does.
คาแรคเตอร์ของเรื่องนี้เมื่อกี้จากที่น้ำตอบไปว่ามันคือตัวคาแรคเตอร์ตัวนำเรื่องจากเรื่องนี้ที่แบบเป็นตัวคาแรคเตอร์พี่น้องแล้วก็ทหารทั้งหมดมันส่งผลยังไงกับการแบบเล่าเรื่องนี้กับเกี่ยวกับสงคราม
ใช่ก็คือโดยเราตั้งใจให้คาแรคเตอร์เมนคาแรคเตอร์เนี่ยมันเป็นพี่น้องกันประเด็นแรกคือเราจะเล่าเรื่องวัยเยาว์นะครับ เรื่องความเป็นพี่น้องความเป็นพี่น้องและของเพื่อนเพราะฉะนั้นมันจะเป็นพี่น้องกับกลุ่ม12 คนที่ถูกสงครามซอมบี้เนี่ยกระทำให้มันเขาก็พยายามที่จะรักษาทุกอย่างไว้ได้เลยแต่มันนี่คือผลของสงครามที่มันจะคงเป็นอยู่ทุกวันนี้เราก็ตั้งใจจะพูดว่าแมสเสจของมันจะเป็นเรื่องสงครามเนี่ยมันทำลายความเป็นอาณาจักรภาพความเป็นพี่น้องกันเองและความเป็นมิตรความเป็นเพื่อนทั้งหมดมันถูกทำลายจริงๆสงครามก็ไม่ต่างจากซอมบี้นั่นแหละที่แพร่เชื้อพันธุ์ออกไปเรื่อยๆแล้วก็ทำลายทุกความสัมพันธ์ย่อยยับไปหมด
First, I picked the character to be siblings because that's what I want to let it lead the story, the siblings, also with friendship, right? And then the result of the war, if I want to explain that, or show that the war is similar to zombie. It's never ending and it's just killing everything, like killing the friendship, killing the love that they have, or like the love of all human that like we should be together peacefully, but because of the war. And it's the same thing like zombie, that it's just killing everything.
Right, but
แต่เมื่อกี้ที่ยังไม่ได้อธิบายสองคำว่าที่ไม่มั่นใจในคำสั่งภาษาญี่ปุ่นที่
โทมิสึเขาเป็นโทมิสึก็คือนักรบอมตะโทมิสึคือมันแปลเป็นแบบโซลอิมมอร์ทัล
นั่นคือที่ใช้เอามาจาก
ใช่อันเนี้ยก็คือมันการทดลองอาวุธสงครามชนิดนี้ที่มันใช้ชื่อว่าฟูมิสึพวกญี่ปุ่นเรียกซอมบี้เหล่านี้ว่าฟูมิสึเนี่ยมันหมายถึงความก็พูดง่ายๆก็คือสงครามเนี่ยมันคือความอมตะมันคือความไม่จบสิ้นมันจะก่อร่างความสร้างความทำลายล้างไปอย่างแบบไม่มีวันตาย
about the fumitsu in Japanese, right? That it is immortal, and if you think about war is also immortal because it's continued and there's no ending for the war.
Yeah, I think we have time for two more questions. So one last question I'll ask for Director Com, and this will also, Lakkana, you can also answer. Something that I wasn't expecting in this film is at the beginning, you heard the interpreter interpreting between the Thai soldiers and the Japanese soldiers. And then when you turn the camera, he's actually Indian. And I like that because it shows how not only multicultural Thailand was even then in the 1940s, but then how widespread colonialism was. Because like India was colonized by the British, but then right next to Thailand, you have Malaysia, who was also colonized by Britain. And like Thailand itself was a colonizer of Indochina region. So talk to me a bit about making sure that you highlighted how multicultural Thailand was at this time, but also talk about how war brought so many different cultures and people together under like Thailand and Japan at that time, because that was unexpected for me.
เขาบอกว่าพูดถึงจริงประเทศไทยก็ติดกับมาเลแต่ว่าเพราะว่าเข้าใจว่าเป็นมาเลจริงๆก็บอกว่า
จริงๆแล้วคือโดยเหตุผลของสงครามญี่ปุ่นเนี่ยญี่ปุ่นยกพลมาไทยเพื่อจะขัดและอาวุธชิ้นนี้ไอ้ฟูมิสึเนี่ยตั้งใจที่จะไปแข่งกับอินเดียข้ามไทยไปอินเดียเพื่อไปตีอันนี้ตามประวัติศาสตร์โลกจริงๆเหตุผลที่จริงเป็นแบบนั้นเพราะฉะนั้นญี่ปุ่นก็เลยจ้างล่ามที่มาจากอันนี้ล่ามเนี่ยเป็นคนใต้หรือเปล่ามาเลยตามโลเคชันที่เขายกคนที่แต่โดยเหตุผลจริงๆก็คือจะไปอินเดียกัน
Actually, based on the true story, the Japanese people actually want to use fumitsu in India, and but in the film that they use the interpreter is actually the Malay Thai, not actually Indian person.
Okay.
Who can speak Thai? Who's from the like in that area, in the south of Thailand, which is Chumphon, right? That province. Chumphon.
So they live in the south that close to Malay, right? And actually the language they use also not like a Thai central Thai. It's a southern Thai. Yeah.
Southern dialect.
Okay, I was wondering if it was Indian because the headdress is very similar to what some Indian men wear, especially those who were in the army at that time. So I was wondering, it was like, is it? So that's why I thought so. And so my last question is going to be for the three actors. And again, in my research, I was looking up, and it said the last teen soldier who was alive at that time, he died in 2021. His name was Cheron Masha Cheron. And I wanted to ask you, what was it like for you playing these characters are essentially based on actual young men who lived and who unfortunately died during this time? Like, you're playing fictional characters, but they are inspired by real teenagers who were basically forced into fighting this very short battle. Like, what was it like for you learning that as you were preparing for these roles? All three of you, yeah.
Carolyn, let's just do one more question. We're running out of time.
Yeah, this will be my last one.
Thank you.
For me, I think it's an honor to portray the characters of them, which was realistic in a way, because I just said like this is a forgotten war, and I think it's an honor to tell the story that people might not know, and I think it's very grateful for me. I'm so grateful to be a part of this, to let people know that what they've been through in the war in the past, as a young soldier, which they deserve to live, deserve to play, deserve to have the right to do whatever they want. And I think many people might not know about their story. So I think I'm so grateful to be a part of this, to tell this story. You know.
And like for me, when we in the scene and like we had like a bomb and like everything that is very real, I feel like I'm understand them, like how their feelings, how they're feeling in the war, and I feel like I'm feeling sad for them, and also I feel really respectful for them. Yeah, and yeah, I'm really grateful.
Yeah, I think it's such a memorable experience for me to understand and to experience this kind of war experience. Even if it was a shooting, a film shooting, but you can feel something. You can feel something from that. That war has been something that takes away of future youth in many people's life, and it's very sad and depressing to know that it's still going on now today.
Yeah.
And
For myself, and a lot of you guys probably call me superficial. I'm grateful to be on this project. I'm honored to be on this project. But for me personally, I think maybe it's because I aware as the fictional character that I play, that I take in a role. I don't know. I just feel like when I do my job, I'm just having a blast. When I on the set, I didn't think about, the honor to be in the war, to represent some big idea. For me, myself, you can call me selfish, but I just think that to be made is a very, very fun experience for me. And I actually don't dare to feel that impact, to feel weight, to be in the actual war, because I personally couldn't dare.
No, I understand what you're saying. So we have to wrap it up, but thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and congratulations on the world premiere. I know you guys are having a long day, and it's going to be an even longer night for you. So I appreciate you taking the time for talking to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Congratulations, and thank you, Heen.
Have a good night.
Bye. Have a good night.